Welcome to the latest podcast in a series from the Internationalist and the ANA. I'm Brendan Banaham, Managing Director of the Internationalist Group of Companies. We focus on the reinvention of marketing by connecting the people and ideas in international marketing through content, insights, thought leadership, community collaboration, and consulting. Today's podcast shares how people in our global community are not merely handling today's pandemic crisis, but helping us all to better navigate it. The ability to inspire people to be their best is valuable in difficult times, and no one does this better than marketers. I'll now turn the podcast over to Deborah Malone, founder of The Internationalist.
Thanks, Brendan, and welcome to another Internationalist Trendsetter show. Perry Kamel has a 30-year track record of transforming companies, from giants like Siemens and Ciena to his role as founding global managing director of Accenture Interactive. He has degrees in electrical engineering and in business. If I could apply a personal motto to Perry, I'd say that he dreams big and leads others to achieve what may have been considered impossible. Today, we're talking to him about his current venture, a remarkably purpose-driven company that has started called DNAVibe. Perry, welcome to the show.
It is really great to be here, Deb. Thank you.
Oh, yes. No, certainly my pleasure. It's great to see you virtually and hear you, of course. All right. Well, listen.
Starting to get used to that.
Yes, right. That's right. Our new world. Look, let's begin by telling the audience a little bit about what DNAVibe does and the product that it offers. I'd love you to get into a lot of other details about the concept and the organization, which I find so revolutionary. But let's start with the basics. So tell us a little bit about DNAVibe.
Okay, and I'll do my best to keep it as simple as possible.
Oh, no. Okay. All right.
The technology is super exciting, especially for the nerds out in the audience. It sits at the intersection of human genomics and particle physics. And at the end of the day, we have a device. It's a wearable technology. It's very flexible. You can wrap it around your elbow, your knee, your ankle, your neck, low back. It's a flexible wearable device that emits red, near-infrared, and magnetic signals. And that stimulates DNA to generate and restore healthy tissue. And so really what it does is help accelerate recovery, improve performance, enhance mobility, all kinds of things. And we've been out in the market now for over a year and a half of testing. We launched commercially last January, just in time for the pandemic. And we're thrilled to report that 97% of our customers are reporting significant positive outcomes.
Oh, that's extraordinary. I also, though, just to dig a little bit deeper into this, I know in our prior conversations that you were talking about how this product may actually represent, I don't know, shall we call it a fundamental transition in modern medicine? Do you want to talk a little bit about that and what it means in terms of DNA?
Certainly. I think we're in the midst of a fundamental transformation in, quote, modern medicine. I think we're part of that, but there's certainly a lot going on when you start looking at the human genome and genomic sciences and the role that will increasingly play in medicine in developing treatments, even as we hear about in regards to the pandemic and the genomic sciences behind the vaccines. It's really staggering. I think someday within 10 to 15 years, we'll look back and say, wow, you remember when we used to use leeches back in the 20s? So DNAVibe is very much part of that. What we do is we go right after the cause of cellular behavior. So, for example, we in modern medicine, we talk about cancer cells. And we often think about obliteration of cancer cells. They're misbehaving. They're overexpressing. And so we obliterate them. We radiate them. We hit them with chemicals. We cut them out with knives. But when you start thinking about genomic sciences, it's really about understanding why is the cell misbehaving in the first place, and can't we just switch off those undesirable behaviors? Can't we switch on more desirable behaviors, more healthy and less unhealthy? So it's an exciting period in science. I think in the future, 10 short years from now, we'll look back and just be amazed at what's been achieved.
No, that's certainly for sure. If we can see that kind of transition, it also makes me think just how much this for you is such a purpose-led venture, and obviously it's purpose-led in terms of what you're doing with treatment. But I also noticed that your company is purpose-led in many ways. And I know a lot of that is due to your experience in really transforming so many companies in the past. But I'd like to start with your one-word mission. And if you could tell us about that and then why you chose it. And then I'd like to get on to some of the other things that I find fascinating about your business as a whole.
Yeah, well, we've been involved with you in purpose marketing for so long. I will go so far as to say, in the business of health and wellness where we sit, purpose is fundamental to health and wellness. I think it's a very human thing, but it does permeate everything we do at DNAVibes. So, we like to look at our product as a product that can help people do more of what they love at a higher level for a longer time. By enhancing health and wellness and fitness, we like to think of more people just getting more out of life, and that's a purpose that myself and the team we take very seriously. Nothing energizes us more than the real stories that come back from our customers about how they're able to return to hobbies they loved and had to give up. We have so many of those inspiring stories, and so. We like to say the one-word mission statement is the word thrive. Of course, we substitute the I with an exclamation point in the middle. So that's kind of like one of our little marketing tags. But because really the product itself is meant to help people thrive. Now, we also in the process have come up with very interesting ways of transforming the manufacturing process. So maybe I can touch in on that a little bit.
Oh, I actually find that just as interesting, and I also just find how interesting it is that process also supports what you're actually trying to achieve with the brand on a larger level. And so talk about purpose. I mean, it's even extraordinary. Yeah. Please talk to us about manufacturing, because I think it's really revolutionizing what we know of manufacturing.
I can hardly stay in my seat. I get pretty excited about this part of what we're doing.
It's great.
It's true. It's when I talk to people about the product itself and the lives that it changes and improves, people tend to be really energized about just how significant that is. And then I talk about our manufacturing approach, and then they're blown away. I actually think this may be more exciting than the product itself. I'm not sure. But so I'll just kind of rewind. So about 3 years ago, like everybody else who wants to deliver a product, we went to all the offshore and contract manufacturing outfits in the world, and we got some bids, and they came in quite high, about 180 and change per unit. And that gave us pause, and we said, there's got to be a different model. We love at DNAVibe to fundamentally change paradigms. And so we thought, what could we do differently? In fact, what would the exact opposite of this approach look like? And what I mean by that is the current model in manufacturing, which has been prevalent since the dawn of the industrial age, is predicated on centralizing production, scaling production. The larger the production facility, the better, because scale drives scale efficiencies. And we've all heard that. So over the years, what has happened is we consolidate production in mega plants. You look at Fitbits and iPhones, and all of these technologies are built in mega plants overseas. And the idea is the more units they can ship, the lower the unit cost. What's the exact opposite of that? Instead of making everything in one place and shipping it to all other places, we reverse that and say, well, what if we made things in all places and ship nowhere? kind of a mind bender, but we took that very seriously. Beginning about 2.5 years ago, we started studying very deeply what would have to be true for us to be able to build micro manufacturing plants all over the world in every market that we're going to serve, and yet be able to compete, if not beat, the bigger players on unit cost. Big, staggering implications. And so we spent a good couple of years deconstructing the entire process of building and manufacturing advanced electronics, including microcircuitry and flexible PCB development. We deconstructed the process from step 1 through step N and reinvented it in fundamental ways. We use entirely different capital equipment, and I'm proud to say that after our analysis, we've been able to build extremely highly precise electronics from raw material to finished product in what we call our 40-foot shipping container. So we've put manufacturing in a box, and we're able to do extremely sophisticated manufacturing processes in a 40-foot shipping container. And the idea being that as we develop markets around the world, including West Africa, South America, you name it, instead of shipping product into their market and thereby stripping economic value out of their market, we're going to drop ship manufacturing cells into those developing markets. We're going to teach the local communities how to design and build their own products and fulfill their own demands. And, we didn't know that it was going to be possible when we started out on this journey. But we've done it. We've built a micro manufacturing model. We call them LAMPs, local advanced manufacturing pods, that can fit in the size of a shipping container, that can be drop shipped into any market around the world. What's so exciting to me and to our team is that not only are we infusing economic value into these local communities, but we're also inviting them to be part of the creative process, to be part of the modern economic world, to participate in design, to use their imaginations and to create new products. And so we think it's good for the local economies. We think it's good for the soul. And I have to say, as far as we call that our second pillar, the first pillar is about helping consumers thrive. The second pillar is about helping local communities around the world thrive. And ultimately, this leads to the concept of mesh manufacturing. So imagine just for a moment, instead of a mega plant making everything offshore, shipping around the world and stripping value out of local markets, imagine 1,000 lamps lighting the world, working locally, each of them able to produce at least 10,000 units per month, but strung together in a mesh that shares knowledge, shares design, shares creative best practices, shares inventory, shares even demand signaling, and operates as one cohesive mesh. That's our dream for Pillar 2.
No, it almost sounds a little bit like DNA, but in getting reconnected. But I mean, certainly, I find that just extraordinary, particularly since even just in looking at the U.S., when you think of the communities that could benefit from this, and you're right, it's not only the economics, although the economics are vital. It's also the sense of pride and the sense of dignity that comes with wanting to work within your own community and doing something that's creating a product that's helpful.
I think unlocking that creative potential, and we as we do this, not only do we have to shatter paradigms on how these advanced technologies are produced, we have to do it in a way that's very safe. That's easy enough for local populations around the world to be able to build these things from raw materials through finished goods. And so we call it the Barista Model, where every step in the process we say, hey, is that barista proof? Meaning, if a young person can pour a cup of coffee at Starbucks, they should be able to fabricate an iPhone or a Fitbit or other advanced technologies like ours. And that's important because we can't just drop this 40-foot shipping container in West Africa and expect the locals to embrace it. So we work very hard at reinventing every step in the process so anybody can do it. We've had young junior high school classes send kids here for a field trip to learn about this new model And not only are we showing them and teaching them what we're doing, but we actually get them involved in building product the first time they walk in here, and to see their faces glow with excitement. We've had young 10-year-old kids build advanced electronics for their grandparents. And so we love showing them that these types of technologies are not to be feared, that you can actually not only understand this, you can do this. And to see that excitement really powers us.
Now that's extraordinary. It also, though, leads me a little bit to what the third pillar of your organization is. And you've expressed it wonderfully in talking about the junior high school kids, but it's corporate culture. And we know that corporate culture might be one of the things that distinguish great brands from other brands, but it seems that it's also essential to purpose and to trying to deliver what you're doing. Can you talk to us about that? And I know those who can see maybe some of the imagery in this will see that you've got some superheroes behind you. So maybe you could talk to us about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually not a digital background. It's our conference room. It's just so it's a signal of our culture, I guess. You're right. Our third pillar is culture, and not in the hey soft HR kind of way. This is actually perhaps the most significant of our three pillars. And again, our one-word mission statement, thrive, applies to consumers thriving by means of our product, local communities around the world thriving by means of manufacturing transformation that we're bringing to the world. And this third pillar is for our own employees and other companies eventually to thrive. So I've been in the corporate world for 30 years or potentially more. Just don't tell anybody. It's like, how did that happen? I'm still 19 years old in my brain. But anyway, for my entire career, I have seen just how you can fire people up and give them a sense of purpose, vision, direction, show each and every individual how they can uniquely contribute in a collaborative environment that's respectful, edifying, that really empowers people to thrive. When someone walks in and they check their soul at the door and then they go through the drudgery of the day and then they look forward to the end of the day to go have fun somewhere else, that there's something wrong with that model. I've always felt, work is necessary, but work is also energizing and can be extremely important to anyone. But why can't it be more satisfying, rewarding, energizing? So we take that very seriously. Our third pillar is about building the kind of culture that respects every individual, that looks to empower, enable, support, encourage, and edify them. And there's so many different ways we manifest that on a daily basis. It's not just about having cookouts and picnics. It's about, just truly recognizing that each of us as humans have certain aspirations, hopes, dreams. We also have fears and doubts and uncertainties, and we need to be very respectful and attentive to that. And so we work hard at it. We try to make the environment fun, but we try to make it meaningful and purposeful at every level, every day. Examples are like, we had one of our executives we were interviewing for a key role. And during the interview, the executive asked, what would a typical day, week, month look like for me if I were to join the team? And I kind of reversed that and I said, no, you need to tell me what a typical day, week, month will look like for you, because coming to DNAVibe is not just about you working to fulfill someone else's dream. It's about you fulfilling your own dream in this ecosystem where each of us needs to fulfill our life dream. We need to do it in a way that's together. We need to do it in a way that's kind of a cohesive approach towards a common goal. But I care very much about the dreams of every individual, because this is where to fulfill them in the workplace, not just at DNAVibe, by the way. Mm-hmm. So our cultural pillar is about creating an environment that is just so intoxicatingly attractive and energizing for every single person that hopefully eventually it'll become a pattern that others will look at and say, wow, whatever's going on over there, I want a little bit more of that myself. And I see no reason why the workaday culture that we have in the world can't just become so much more meaningful, so much more energizing, so that people can really have not a balanced life, but a fully integrated life.
Well, I think that you're right, and I think that people are starting to see a little bit more of that. I mean, we're hearing more marketers talk about, an inside-out approach to everything they do, and certainly we know in our new environment of stakeholder capitalism that in many ways the employee is at the heart of that. I think what's also interesting that in the work that you did transforming companies, you also mentioned to me that you were probably well ahead of your time, because one of the things that you found in terms of transforming an organization was to start with the people rather than the finances.
100%.
And that is amazing. Well, it looks like what I think is just amazing about what you've been doing is that you've given advice to so many companies for so long, and now you've really found something that you care deeply about. And whether the manufacturing part was accidental or not, it obviously is such a monumental accomplishment. Yeah. That combined with your third pillar of corporate culture, it's just so exciting to see you doing this now for yourself. So I guess, given that our conversation has gone by so amazingly quickly, let me just ask you, what is next? What do you see on the horizon for DNAVibe? I mean, I know there's a lot more work to be done, but I'd love to hear what your next steps are.
Well, I think like many aspiring companies, it's all about growth, but the way we think about growth, it's more about, how many people can we help transform their own lives? And so we're in a frenetic state of urgency to help more people. And that is a much more positive motivation than just ringing the cash register. That's actually the least of our concerns. As you mentioned, I've been blessed with 30 years of turning companies around. And I've always felt that it's about turning the people around. If you want to turn a business around, turn the people around, give them meaning, purpose, vision, get them excited, unlock their potential, and there's no stopping what can be done. So what we're going to do is we're going to pursue our three pillars. We're going to transform lives by means of a technology that is truly transformative. Again, 97% of our customers give us these amazing stories of inspiring life change. That pillar, helping people thrive. The manufacturing pillar, we're going to work hard at industrializing that and scaling it worldwide. We've had some of the largest manufacturing companies and suppliers in the world contact us just based on the kind of things we order. Who are you and why on earth are you ordering these things? There's only 16 companies in the world that do these kind of things. And we've had them come and visit us and take a look at our model, and people are excited to be part of that. The implications are just overwhelming. If you can imagine a world where we don't have pockets of production capacity and then third world poverty. Imagine if we could just light the world with economic stimulus through giving people opportunities to be part of the modern world. So we're going to be pushing very hard on that over the next few years. We've already got our first LAMP established, and they've been trained. They've adopted our processes and methods. They have been building and delivering product already. So LAMP number 1 is lit, and we're going to hope to build many, many more lamps in the years ahead. And our culture, one of the things I like to think about every day, people say, well, Perry, having that kind of culture, that magnetic culture that draws people in and lifts them up, that's easy when you're small. Good luck with that when you grow. You'll become dark and evil like everybody else that's huge. And I think that's a silly notion. It takes intense focus to think about what are the structures and methods and processes and dynamics to preserve that youthful spirit when we grow to 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000 employees and beyond. How can we knit that into the culture so deep that it's preserved all the way up? And we do that every day. We think every day about how we can do that. So, our future is pretty clear. 3 pillars, 1 word, mission statement, thrive.
Well, all I can say is every time I hear the word thrive, I'm going to think very differently about it. So
exclamation point. That's right.
Got it. And trademark. Let me, I'd love for you to come back on the show and let us know more about those lamps, more about lighting the world, and more about how many people you're helping to live life at their fullest. So we'll keep checking in with you. All right.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you so much, Perry. Take care now.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Perry, for being a part of today's show and for playing an amazing role at the intersection of innovation, purpose, marketing, and technology. Now back to Brendan.
And that concludes today's podcast. Thanks again for listening. For more information on The Internationalist, please go to our website, www.theinternationalist.com. By the way, there's a hyphen between the and internationalist. That's where you'll find more information on podcasts and interviews, as well as highlights of our various initiatives, including Marketing Makes a World of Difference, Internationalist Insights and Studies and Intelligence Briefs, awards and case studies and best practices, peer-to-peer marketing think tanks and forums, and the Internationalist Press. The ability to inspire people to be their best selves is valuable in difficult times. We feel very strongly about the fact that no one does this better than one.